Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode number 26 in the book of 1 Peter. This is season 19, 19th book in the New Testament. Today we're going to talk about entrusting, and we're going to talk about giving rest. Yesterday we were at a point where we learned that whether our gift is in the serving category, in the speaking category, we're going to need the strength of God. We're going to need His supply, His presence, and depend upon Him and rely on Him even amidst difficulty. Today, so not only do we need to serve in the strength that God supplies, but we also need to entrust during suffering and during fiery trials and testing. We need to rejoice and be glad in the revealing of His glory. Be blessed even in the insulting of being a Christian, and be unashamed in the suffering as a Christian. In short, we're supposed to entrust ourselves in the will of God. Listen with me from 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 12 through 19. 1 Peter 4, verse 12. Beloved, do not be surprised at the fiery trial when it comes upon you to test you, as though something strange were happening to you. But rejoice insofar as you share Christ's suffering, that you also may rejoice and be glad when His glory is revealed. If you are insulted for the name of Christ, you're blessed, because the Spirit of glory and of God rests upon you. That's my favorite part of the verse today. The Spirit of glory and God rests upon you. But let none of you suffer as a murderer or thief or as an evildoer or as a meddler. Yet if anyone suffers as a Christian, let him not be ashamed. Let him glorify God in the name. For it is time for judgment to begin at the household of God. And if it begins with us, what will the outcome for those who do not obey the gospel of God? And if the righteous is scarcely saved, what will become of the ungodly and sinner? That's a quote from Proverbs. Therefore, let those who suffer according to God's will entrust their souls to a faithful Creator while doing good. So the first thing he says here is don't be surprised at the bad stuff. And why does he have to say that? Well, because people are surprised. It's like, hey, something strange happening to me. I'm the first guy in history to have this happen. And Peter is saying, beloved, get some perspective here. Don't be surprised. There's going to be trials. There's going to be testing. They're going to be fiery, by the way. So, don't be surprised at that. So don't be surprised at the bad stuff. But also don't be surprised at the good stuff. Don't be surprised that the Spirit of glory, the Spirit of God, the Spirit of Christ rests upon you. And then that will help you or cause you to entrust your soul and do the right thing. So your quiet soul, your settled soul, it has an ability to then do something. So the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of Jesus, remember, Jesus said it was to His advantage that He go away. Why? So that the Spirit would come, the Spirit that we're talking about here, and make a difference. So don't be surprised at the pain, first of all. Don't be surprised that what we're talking about here is unpleasant. It's trial, it's testing, and has some fire to it. And don't be surprised at the plan, that God is sovereign amongst all those crazy things. And don't be surprised at the example. Christ has suffered. I refer you to the nuclear power plant in chapter 2 of 1 Peter, where he shows us how to do this. So he gives us an example on how to handle temptation. We'll go back to that in just a second. And then finally, don't be surprised at His provision, that He rests upon us so that we can do the right thing. So God rests upon it. It rests upon you. The Spirit of glory and of God rests upon you. That's verse 14. It means to cause to give rests. So He rests upon and gives rest. So He causes us to remain quiet when then all the bad stuff, trials, fire, testing, in surprising moments, strange moment. So His resting upon me gives me rest and allows me to remain quiet of soul in disquieting circumstances. And then it's going to allow me to do the right thing, which is to set my soul upon Him. This whole paragraph talks about being settled in suffering. So what's the normal response? Maybe to be surprised and say this is strange. The Christian response is to know that and to remember and claim that God rests upon me. His Spirit rests upon me. Therefore, I can be at rest, and then I can do the right thing. I can set my soul in the right place. And when is this milieu? Well, during suffering and trials and, yes, testing. His resting upon my soul causes a resting of my soul, helps me to remain quiet in circumstance, and then do the hardest work of the soul, which is to entrust my soul to a faithful God. Remembering, he is sovereign, he sees, he knows, he allows the trial, he tests, he allows even the fire, he rests upon me, he causes resting of my soul so that I can endure. What is that? Endure and entrust. Entrusting is, I set myself, set before. To entrust means to set before. I give over. I put it somewhere. Almost think about your soul like being in a box. And you have to do something with the box. You have to put the box somewhere. And that's what entrusting is. It's putting the box somewhere and giving it to someone. That's the Lord. That happens in 1 Peter chapter 2, and Jesus gives us an example. Verse 23, when he was reviled, he did not revile in return. When he suffered, he did not threaten, but continued entrusting himself to him who judges justly. So Jesus entrusted himself. He set himself before the Father during his bad time of reviling and when he was suffering so bad. Luke 23:46, into your hands I commit my spirit. Kind of the similar idea. I set my soul before you. So my prayer here is that you would use this picture, that God is resting upon your soul, giving you rest, giving you a settled spirit, helping you to remain quiet, so that you can entrust your soul, set your soul, rest your soul upon him and before him. So take your soul with his helps upon it and set it on him. So God rests upon you so that you can set your soul before him. He helps with entrusting during the fire. So God rests on me so I can rest on him. Thanks for listening.